Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and Apple released a new AirPods firmware update in beta for iOS 27. It brings it to version 9A292E, and it's available for the AirPods Pro 2, as well as AirPods Pro 3, and AirPods 4, and AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation. I believe it will be available for AirPods Max 2 in the future, but there's a reason we don't have that yet. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But the update is available, and it finally adds a feature we've wanted for a long time. Now, in order to install the update, of course, you'll first need to be on iOS 27. Keep in mind this is a beta and typically not recommended for your main devices. On AirPods, it's typically okay, but there's no way to downgrade simply without bringing it to Apple. But in order to try out the beta, make sure you're on iOS 27 betas as a developer. Then go ahead and connect your AirPods to your device. Go into Settings. Then you want to go into your AirPods settings, which are all new. We'll talk about in a moment. Scroll to the bottom and you'll see AirPods Beta updates. Within AirPods Beta updates, you can simply turn this on and then it will update on its own. Now you can just leave it to update, or in order to update this a little bit faster, typically what I'll do is I'll take them out of the case, place them in my ears, maybe listen to a song for about 30 seconds or so. After I've listened to that song, I'll then swipe home, place them back in the case, close it, and then walk away, lock the phone, and come back in about 15 minutes, and they typically update. Sometimes it updates faster, plugging directly into a Mac as well with the latest updates with macOS 27, Golden Gate on it. Or if they're still not updating, sometimes it needs to be charged over 50%. So make sure that it's charged over 50%. So you'll see the case is only at 1% on this particular AirPods. So you'll need to make sure that's charged up. Now, once it's updated, the way you can check this is the same way we just went into our settings here. So we'll open up AirPods 4 with ANC. This is what I've been using for a little while now with the beta. And if we go into those settings, again, scroll to the bottom, you'll see that we're already updated. You'll see version 9A292E as well as the case version. Usually the case takes longer to update. However, I did have some issues updating this with my AirPods Pro 3. They are not updating properly. So if we go in here, we'll open it back up, go back out of our settings here, wait for it to connect. There we go. Go into our AirPods Pro 3 settings, scroll to the bottom. You'll see, well, finally it updated. It took an entire day to update, but if we go in here, it updated the case first, and then it updated the actual AirPods. So it was a little bit backward, and I left these on my nightstand overnight on the charger, and it finally updated. So before it didn't update, at least yesterday for me. Now, as far as the update goes, well, we have a new feature. You'll see connectivity is nice and fast though, but let's go into the AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation. So of course we have this all new menu that's part of iOS 27 that really organizes everything. You'll see audio and routing, controls and gestures, live translation beta, accessibility, battery, and Find My. But once you've actually installed this beta, if you go under audio and routing, there's a new option for equalizer. So this option isn't there if you don't have the beta. Within the equalizer settings, you'll see that you'll have your current song that was playing, and then you can just adjust it. You have 3 different options, so you'll have to switch it from recommended, which is set up by Apple, switch it over to custom. You can even reset it here, and then you can listen in real time and then adjust the lows, mids, and highs. So let me go ahead and place one in my ear, and we'll go ahead and press play so you can see what it looks like. So you'll see it actually shows a little bit of a waveform as far as what's playing. There we go. It seemed to lock up a little bit, but you'll see this gives an idea of what it looks like. You can adjust it in real time and of course reset it. So this is something we've wanted for a long time. We don't have more than low, mid, or high, but at least we have some form of equalizer. So this is great. You can fully adjust it however you'd like. And again, to your taste. And I think this is much better. If you want a little bit more bass, just add a little bit for the low side there, maybe a little bit more mids for guitars, things like that. It's really nice to have that option. Now, as far as bugs and bug fixes, well, Apple doesn't specify what they're actually fixing here, but it does seem like it connects a little bit better and stays a little bit better. For example, on my Mac, it seems like it's dropping less of the connections. I've had 0 drops on the iPhone, so that's great, and it's still indexing, as you can see here. But I've had 0 issues, 0 drops with the iPhone, no issues whatsoever, even connected to the Mac in editing. So far, it's been pretty good. Handoff works pretty well also, so if you're going between this device and maybe another device, it jumps back and forth, and I've had 0 issues with static or hum so far, so that's been great. When it comes to battery life, of course, this takes some time to actually measure. We don't really know what battery life will be like, but given that it's a beta, give it some time. It will probably improve over time. But now with these new sort of EQ updates and customizability, that's something that's a little bit new for us, at least on the Apple side. But as far as the overall battery life, again, give it some time. It will take a few days to measure, and we'll talk more about that in the weekend follow-up video, as I typically use the AirPods Pro 3 enough that it actually runs the battery down. Now again, as far as audio improvements, I've been using the AirPods 4 for about a day now since the update's been out, and I really haven't noticed any differences other than adjusting the actual EQ. It definitely made a difference, improved the overall sound quality, at least for how I prefer it, and I prefer maybe a little bit more bass and a little more mids, at least in this style music. When you switch to maybe rap, for example, you may want to adjust it a little bit differently. But for this particular song from Switchfoot, a newer one, it actually sounds a little bit better to me, depending on, of course, your ears. It sounds better with a little bit more mids and a little bit more bass with less treble. So that's something that I adjusted. I actually really like the sound, and I prefer it over some previous setups. So I used other AirPods and other headphones from other manufacturers where I could adjust it a little bit more. Now I can use AirPods the same way. But again, I noticed no difference with audio quality. When it comes to noise cancellation, well, it's only been a day, but I, again, really noticed no difference there. We have the same settings and everything that we did before. So again, if I place these in my ears with the active noise cancellation, we have the same options. So if we go in here, of course, we have conversational awareness and all of those. If you're noticing that noise cancellation isn't working that great, turn off things such as conversational awareness, as sometimes that will interfere and bring in more noise than you were expecting. So just keep that in mind. And again, it seems to be working well. No problems there, at least with noise cancellation on the AirPods 4. AirPods Pro 3, again, they just updated, so I'll have to try that out a little bit more, but I wouldn't expect any change there. Really, it's just more about this audio improvement. As far as other updates, we don't really know any other changes. Apple hasn't told us anything. We just know that AirPods Max 2 are not supported yet. If we go to Apple's website here, you'll see the AirPods Beta. This is their public release notes here, and it says support and gives you the information. So if we scroll up here, we have more information about AirPods. Let's find it. And you'll see under AirPods Beta firmware, it's only supported on AirPods Pro 2 with MagSafe charging case, USB-C, Lightning, AirPods 4, AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation, and it doesn't even mention the AirPods Pro 3, even though they've updated. However, AirPods Max 2 are not listed because in the notes for iOS 27 and macOS 27, there's a difference. So if we go here, there's a problem with that. So if we go down again to the public-facing release notes, go down here, it says AirPods Max 2. You cannot update AirPods Max 2 firmware beta in iOS 27 Beta 1 and macOS 27 Beta 1. AirPods Max 2 firmware beta updates are supported in iOS 27 Beta 2 and macOS 27 Beta 2. So that's something that's a known issue that we'll have to wait until Beta 2. So it is going to get support with AirPods Max 2, so this is great. I'm glad to see they're still supporting it, even though it's brand new, and that's something that will come in the near future. So if there's any updates there, maybe we'll have a different beta firmware. That's something we'll see. Now, one other thing I would love to see still is, again, back in settings, is even though we have this really nice new menu, they never added an update button. It did tell me that there was a beta firmware update available. There was no specific button to hit update. So I just had to wait for them to update on their own. It's not the end of the world, but it is something I would love to see, an update button and a status indicator. So you see this on other manufacturers and pretty much everything else that Apple makes, but for whatever reason, we don't get it on the AirPods. But other than that, there's not a whole lot new here. So I'll continue to use the AirPods and see what they're like over time. Let me know how it's going for you if you're using this beta. I think it will be really nice to have that EQ finally. I know many people have been wanting that for years. Let me know how you set yours up and what you think of the overall sound in the comments below. And of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.